Why buying a house in 2026 may be a bad financial move. The dream of homeownership is turning into a financial nightmare for many as severely strained affordability and stagnant incomes plague the 2026 market. We will expose the harsh reality of why over 65% of households are priced out and the market risks that could sink your investment. Title: Why buying a house in 2026 may be a bad financial move. Intro and hook. For your entire life, you've probably been told that this is the moment to work for, the peak of the American dream. But what if I told you that in 2026, for a huge number of people, that dream is a trap? What if the key to your new home is also the key to your financial ruin? The market is flashing some serious warning signs that most people are completely missing. So, let's cut through the noise. I'm going to show you the reality of the 2026 housing market and the critical risks that could torpedo your investment before you even unpack the boxes. You've been sold the idea that buying a house is always the right move, but in today's market, it might just be the biggest financial mistake you can make. Section 1. The harsh reality of affordability in 2026. Let's just get right to it. The idea of an affordable home has become a complete fantasy for most Americans. For generations, home ownership was the cornerstone of the American dream, a tangible symbol of stability and wealth creation. But today, for millions of millennials and Gen Z, that dream feels more like a cruel joke. We are in a profound affordability crisis that is rewriting the rules of what it means to own a home, creating a deep and widening chasm between the housing haves and have-nots. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about the emotional and financial exhaustion of a generation locked out of a key life milestone. First, let's talk about the prices, because the scale of this is staggering. Since early 2020, national home prices have exploded by an incredible 45%. To put that in perspective, a home that cost $300,000 at the start of the pandemic now commands a price of $435,000. That's a decade of normal, steady appreciation crammed into a chaotic few years, fueled by a perfect storm of rock-bottom interest rates, a surge in remote work, and critically low inventory. And while some analysts predict prices might flatline this year with 0% growth, that's cold comfort. A plateau at the peak of Mount Everest is still the peak. It doesn't make the climb any less impossible for those at the bottom. This isn't a blip. It's a fundamental, painful repricing of the entire market. The core of the crisis is this massive, ever-widening gap between what people earn and what homes actually cost. The national home price-to-income ratio, a key metric of affordability, has been thrown completely out of whack. For decades, a healthy market meant a typical house cost about 3 to 4 times what a median household earned in a year. That was the benchmark, the standard that allowed families to buy a home without crippling their finances. Today, that national ratio is hovering around a punishing 5.5 to 6, and in hotter markets like San Francisco, San Jose, or Miami, it easily blows past 7, 8, or even 9. Paychecks, even for those with good jobs, haven't even come close to keeping up. This isn't just about saving for a down payment anymore. It's about the monthly payment itself becoming an insurmountable barrier. And this isn't just a big city problem anymore. The affordability contagion has spread everywhere. Places that were once considered safe havens for first-time buyers, cities in the Midwest, the Rust Belt, and the Southeast, are now seeing their own affordability crises. The dream is slipping away in Boise, in Nashville, in Phoenix. This is a national phenomenon. Compounding the issue is a severe structural deficit of over 7 million affordable rental homes for our lowest-income households. This shortage at the bottom of the ladder creates a domino effect, forcing more people who would otherwise rent to compete for starter homes, which in turn pushes prices up for everyone. It's a vicious cycle of scarcity driving up costs across the board. The result of all this is a market that has become incredibly fragile and unforgiving. When affordability is stretched this thin, the system loses all its flexibility. Even a tiny dip in prices or a slight bump in interest rates can have an outsized impact, knocking tens of thousands of potential buyers out of the market overnight. A quarter-point rate hike can add hundreds to a monthly payment, making a previously manageable mortgage suddenly impossible. This isn't a healthy, stable system built on strong fundamentals. It's a house of cards, precariously balanced on a foundation of unprecedented prices, stagnant real wages, and now, stubbornly high interest rates. The margin for error for the average American family has simply vanished. Section 2. The 3 ticking time bombs in the market. If the affordability crisis we just discussed is the fire, these next 3 risks are the gasoline. They are the hidden charges, the structural weaknesses, the ticking time bombs waiting to go off. You get the keys. These are the factors that can turn a pricey house into a full-blown financial nightmare, trapping you in a home you can neither afford to keep nor afford to sell. Risk number 1. The mortgage rate maze. For the last couple of years, everyone's been obsessed with mortgage rates, and for good reason. They are the single biggest lever on housing affordability. As of May 2026, the average 30-year fixed rate has been bouncing around in the mid-6% range. Now, that's down from the recent peaks that touched nearly 8%, but it's a completely different universe from the 2% and 3% rates that poured rocket fuel on the pandemic buying frenzy. Those sub-3% rates weren't just a good deal, they were a historical anomaly, a monetary experiment that warped the entire market. To say a 6.5% mortgage versus a 3% one is a small bump is a dangerous understatement. It's a financial earthquake. Let's run the numbers. On a modest $350,000 loan, the difference is staggering. At 3%, your principal and interest payment is about $1,275 a month. At 6.5%, that same loan costs you $2,212. That's a difference of over $700 every single month, or $8,800 a year, just for the same house. Over the life of the loan, you're paying an extra $250,000 in interest. That single factor has absolutely crushed buying power for an entire generation of aspiring homeowners. This rate disparity also creates a powerful and frustrating phenomenon called the lock-in effect. The vast majority of current homeowners, we're talking over 80%, are sitting pretty on mortgages under 5%, with a huge chunk of those under 4% or even 3%. They have zero financial incentive to sell their home and trade a 3% rate for a 6.5% one, even if they need more space or want to move. This is keeping the number of homes for sale, particularly desirable starter homes, incredibly low. Even though inventory is slowly creeping up from historic lows, we're still well below the 5 to 6 months of supply that signals a balanced, healthy market. It's a bizarre standoff. Demand is weak because rates are high, but prices aren't crashing because supply is also historically low. The only person who loses in this scenario is the buyer forced to jump into today's market, competing for scraps. Risk number 2, the hidden costs that bleed you dry. This is the one that blindsides almost every new homeowner. Your mortgage payment, the number the lender qualifies you for, is just the cover charge to get into the club. The real ongoing cost of ownership is so much higher, and these hidden costs are rising faster than ever before. They don't show up on the Zillow estimate, but they will absolutely show up in your bank account. I'm not talking about a couple $100. I'm talking about a potential extra $1,500 to $3,500 a month on top of your mortgage, depending on the house, its age, and its location. This is the shadow payment that can turn a manageable mortgage into a house-poor nightmare. First, let's talk about homeowners insurance. Premiums are exploding. This isn't a gradual increase, it's a crisis. In high-risk states like Florida, California, and Louisiana, we've seen rates jump 80% to 150% in just a few years as insurers price in the escalating risks of wildfires, hurricanes, and severe storms. Some major insurers have stopped writing new policies in these states altogether. Projections show premiums rising another 8% nationally in 2026 alone. Your monthly payment could jump by hundreds of dollars, even if you never file a claim, simply because your home is in an area deemed riskier. Then, property taxes. When home prices shot up during the pandemic, your local government took notice. Your home's assessed value, the number used to calculate your tax bill, likely went up right along with its market value. So even if the tax stays the same, you're paying more. Period. And in many growing communities, Municipalities are raising rates to fund infrastructure, schools, and services, creating a painful double whammy for homeowners. And let's talk about maintenance, the most underestimated cost of all. That old rule of thumb to budget 1% of your home's value for annual upkeep? It's dangerously outdated. In 2026, with an aging housing stock and inflated costs for both labor and materials, a safer bet is 2% to 4%. On a median-priced $420,000 house, 2% is $8,400 a year. That's $700 a month you need to be saving just for things to break. A new roof isn't an if, it's a when, and it can easily cost you $15,000 to $25,000. A new HVAC system? That's a $10,000 to $15,000 surprise. Water heater, appliances, plumbing leaks. The list is endless. This isn't a fund for upgrades. It's the cost of keeping the house functional. Let's add it all up. For that median-priced $420,000 home with a 6.5% mortgage, your principal and interest is around $2,750. But now let's tack on realistic property taxes of $400 a month, a soaring insurance premium of $350 a month, and a responsible 2% maintenance fund of $700 a month. Suddenly, your true monthly housing cost isn't $2,650, it's $4,100. That's a nearly $1,500 gap between the advertised payment and reality, a gap that pushes an already expensive payment into truly unaffordable territory for most families. Risk number 3, the unstable economic foundation. The final risk is the big one, the one we have the least control over, the economy itself. A house isn't an island. It's an asset whose value is completely dependent on the health of the economy around it. We simply cannot ignore the clear warning signs of a weakening economy, a softer job market, and stubborn inflation that just won't quit. The Federal Reserve is walking a razor's edge, trying to cool the economy without crashing it. Any slip-up could send the fragile housing market tumbling. For a homeowner, job security is everything. Your mortgage payment doesn't care if your company announced layoffs. The labor market, which was red hot for years, has been undeniably slowing down. Job openings are falling, and while unemployment remains low for now, even a mild recession could mean significant job losses in key sectors. If you buy at the absolute top of the market, stretching your budget to its limit, and then lose your job, you are in a catastrophic position. You can't afford the payments, but because you just bought, you have no equity. You can't sell without taking a massive loss and writing a huge check at closing. This is the foreclosure trap. Global events matter more than ever. Geopolitical conflicts can send shockwaves through supply chains and oil prices, which directly fuels inflation and could force the Fed to keep interest rates higher for much longer than anyone expects. This isn't just background noise on the news. It directly impacts the cost of your commute, your groceries, and the interest rate on your credit card. It dictates the economic weather. Buying the most expensive, most illiquid asset of your life during a period of such high global and domestic uncertainty isn't just a purchase. It's a huge gamble on the future. Okay, I know this is a lot to take in, and it's not exactly cheerful, but my goal here is to give you the honest truth, not the sales pitch you'll get from someone trying to earn a commission. If you're finding this analysis valuable, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button. It's free, it helps the channel out a ton, and it ensures you don't miss any more no-nonsense financial insights. Section 3. Are you actually ready to buy? After all the market analysis and rate watching, we get to the most important question. And it's not about the market, it's about you. Are you really truly ready for this? Because let's be crystal clear. Getting pre-approved for a loan is not the same thing as being ready for homeownership. A pre-approval is just a bank saying you meet their minimum criteria to take on debt. It's a financial calculation, not a life readiness assessment. It doesn't know if you'll lose sleep over a leaky faucet or if a surprise $5,000 repair bill would send you into a tailspin. Being ready means having the financial fortitude and emotional stability to handle the unpredictable reality of owning a physical asset. So, let's get brutally honest. It's time to put your emotions aside and run through a non-negotiable readiness checklist. If you can't confidently say yes to every single one of these, you need to seriously reconsider hitting pause. First, your job. How stable is it really? Do you have a solid 2-year track record in the same industry, if not the same company? Lenders look for this, but more importantly, it's a sign of consistent earning power. Are you confident in your company's future and your role within it? In a shaky economy, your job stability is your #1 defense against foreclosure. Think about it. Are there whispers of layoffs? Is your industry facing a downturn? If you're a freelancer or self-employed, is your income stream diversified and have you stress-tested it against losing your biggest client? A mortgage payment doesn't care if you had a slow quarter. It's relentless. Second, do you have a real emergency fund? And no, your down payment and closing costs absolutely do not count. This is a completely separate, liquid, high-yield savings account with 3 to 6 months of your bare-bones living expenses. And I mean bare bones. Calculate what you need for housing, utilities, food, and transportation, nothing else. If your essential monthly spend is $4,500, that's a minimum of $13,500 to $27,000, sitting in cash, ready for a layoff, a medical emergency, or a busted water heater in your new home. If you don't have this, you are one surprise away from a financial disaster. This fund is your personal safety net, and buying a house without it is like walking a tightrope with no net below. Third, what's your timeline? Are you positive you'll stay in this house in this city for at least 10, maybe even 15 years? This is critical. In a flat or uncertain market, you can't rely on quick appreciation to save you if you need to move unexpectedly. Selling a house is incredibly expensive. Between realtor commissions, closing costs, and potential repairs, it can easily cost 8 to 10% of the sale price. On a $500,000 home, that's $40,000 to $50,000 gone, just for the privilege of selling. If you have to sell in just a few years, you're almost guaranteed to lose a significant amount of money, potentially wiping out your entire down payment. If there's any chance you might change jobs, move cities, have a major life event, or simply outgrow the space in the next 5 to 7 years, buying now is a massive and likely unnecessary financial risk. Finally, check your motives. Why do you really want to buy a house right now? Be honest. Is it because you've meticulously planned for it and it's the right financial step? Or are you feeling pressure from family asking when you're going to settle down? Are you scrolling through social media, seeing perfectly curated homes, and feeling a pang of envy or inadequacy? That's FOMO, fear of missing out, and it is the single worst reason to make the biggest purchase of your life. Buying a home is a monumental financial and emotional decision. It has to be made with a clear head, for your own reasons, based on your own detailed financial plan, not because of someone else's expectations or a filtered photo on Instagram. Your future self will thank you for your patience and discipline. Conclusion. Look, this video isn't to say you should never buy a house. It's a wake-up call to reject the myth that homeownership is always a great investment, no matter what, because in the 2026 market, it can be a truly terrible one. Affordability is at crisis levels. Prices are completely disconnected from incomes. We have ticking time bombs of high mortgage rates and hidden costs that are wrecking budgets, all on top of a shaky economic foundation. The new American dream isn't about owning a house at any cost. It's about financial security, financial freedom. And for a lot of people in 2026, the smartest and most powerful move is to keep renting, save like crazy, and invest wisely. It's about building a rock-solid financial base so that when the time is right, you're in a position of strength. Don't let pressure or a romanticized dream push you into a decision that could set you back for a decade. Right now, choosing to wait and build your resources might be the smartest choice of all. What do you think? Are you trying to buy in this market? Let me know what you're seeing in your city down in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want a video on how to build that rock-solid financial foundation, let me know. Thanks for watching.